Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Writer's Underworld with myself, Richard Rose. This is the introduction to the channel. It's a new channel, first video. What are we doing here? Well, I'm going to hopefully be teaching my method of creative fiction writing. Why would you want to learn creative fiction writing from me? Well, it's better you learn it from me than from somebody else, because I'll tell you right now that you don't know what you're going to get from anybody, but I know I got something to give you. Because for a long time, I did not want to do this. I was very reluctant because I was thinking, well, yeah, I could go on YouTube and teach people about writing, but what do I have to gain from giving away my secret wisdom that I fought so hard to accumulate for myself? But then, what happened was I was listening to a book, and it was a really disappointing book. And this guy, he had a great publisher, and he had a great website, and the marketing was all so good, and all these things I would die for and kill for that would mean everything to me. And the book was just so bad, and I'll get into why books become bad at a later point in time. But it was very upsetting for me, and then I realized that I do have something to gain from teaching people about writing, is better writing in the world. And hopefully, if I get on here on YouTube and I start explaining everything I've learned about writing fiction, someday in the future, and I'm going to be reading a book by somebody who went from nothing to immediate success for some reason, who knows what or why, but it's going to be a good book. There are going to be people out there writing good books. And then when I go to read a new book, it's going to be a good book. And so that is what I am hoping to gain from this endeavor. And also, I'm going to be promoting my own books, because I have no way to do this. Like, these are my books back here. And, over the course of time, I'll be just trying to talk to people about them, because, and we're also going to be talking about the experience of what it's like to be an underground, unknown writer in the world. Spoiler alert, it sucks, but we're going to talk about it. And, and if we get viewers on the channel, and we get commentators, and we get, people interacting, this is like supposed to be a channel for writers, and especially young writers or beginning writers, because if you've been writing for a long time and you got your own way of doing things, I'm really not going to be much help. If you already know how to do it, how am I going to help you? You already know what you're doing, and you got your own thing going on. But if you're starting out, there's a lot of things that I can impart upon people starting out. And I'm going to kind of try and divvy it up into lessons, and then over time, as we see thematics developing throughout the lessons, we can kind of figure out what the methodology is. I know that I have like lesson 1 in my head, but I'm going to kind of have to jump from what the next ones are going to be, and kind of seeing how it goes. Is I'm going to be doing a back and forth with, what's coming out versus what is getting put out thereafter. So that's not about it. What happened is I lost my train of thought, and I want to pretend like, oh, I didn't actually lose my train of thought. So I was gonna stop the video anyways. But no, what happened is I lost my train of thought. But yeah, if we get people commentating, and we can do some interactions, like, we could do question and answer, and we can do, we could talk about what people got going on, and you could submit to the channel, and then I can get up on the camera and look at what came in, and we can talk about, all right, well, this guy's got this going on, or this person has this situation going on. If you're anything like me, you will have a whole lot of nothing going on, because I don't know, being a novelist, I used to say this when I started out. It's like you're in a vacuum. And how many years have gone by? I've been doing this over half my life, and I'm still in a vacuum. So if you're getting, frustrated with your toiling away inside of a vacuum, this can be one way to escape the vacuum. Even just bouncing things back and forth with me, because I know if I had one person out there to bounce ideas off of, I would be less in the vacuum. And problem is, I've been in this vacuum for over half my life, and my books, they got nobody to they got no readers, and that's kind of this the whole experience of being a writer, ultimately is about the readers. And if you don't have any readers, it can be a very nullifying experience. And and that's sort of like, the tortured artist aspect of it, and some people say, specifically Jeffrey Deaver, who is, a very admirable mystery writer. He said, I don't know what an artist is. And I was like, of course you don't, because you write, detective fiction at the highest level, and you're just, you're creating a product, is what he said. I'm creating a product. But me, I've always been an artist. I know exactly what an artist is, and I know why an artist is doing what they do, and I know what a work of art looks like. So maybe there's people who think it's a product, but I am of the mind that it's a work of art. And I know what it's like to be that artist, and it's hard. It's very hard on your mind, body, and soul, from beginning to end. It was hard when I started out, and it's hard to this very day. And that's kind of my story. Is I drive tractor trailers, and I listen to audiobooks driving tractor trailers, and they're terrible books. They're just, I mean, I listen to good books too, but when I try to find new books, a lot of the times they're bad. And I know exactly why they're bad. And it's very depressing, for me to experience this over and over. But, this channel is supposed to be an outlet for that kind of frustration. And also for if there's people out there experiencing the same thing. But again, I'm hoping the channel will find young writers and beginning writers of any age, because these are the people that I can explain, what I did, how it happened, what worked out for me. That's all going to be in lesson 1. This is just an introduction to the channel. But we're going to begin at the beginning, as one does, unless you want to, cut to the chase and start at the exciting part, which is kind of a cheap trick in my opinion. But it works. It's a good trick. It's just a cheap trick. So yeah, since this video is not really saying much of anything in terms of the lesson plan, I'm going to cut it out there. It's been about 10 minutes. That seems like the appropriate length for a YouTube video. So yeah, I hope we can get some big stuff out of this channel. I hope there's young writers and beginning writers who are going to hang around to see what I got to say. And I don't know, I hope it works out, because I really want to be reading better books in the future. And I don't know how to make that happen except to get onto the YouTube and try and make some better books in this world. And I've been a writer this whole time, and and being in the vacuum, you really don't have any way to be a writer. Like there's people out there, they go out to writers conferences, and they go out to writing groups, and they go out and they make acquaintances, and they mingle and rub shoulders. But like, how many of us are just hiding it in a closet somewhere? Like, I mean, I'm not out at writers' conferences. I'm driving a tractor trailer. So I'm hoping that this is a way for me to actually feel like a novelist for one time in my life. Like, look at these babies. I made all these babies here, and when have I ever felt like a novelist, except maybe when you finish a project? But even then, it's only in your mind. Where does the validation come from? Everybody in the world wants to feel validation, but I've been having zero validation. Maybe that's why I used to go by zero, because of the amount of validation I've had for all of my blood, sweat, and tears over here. And maybe, maybe I'm coming down on that mark pretty hard, but like, that's what it is. And like, if you want to be a novelist, you're going to learn about suffering, or you're going to rocket to the top immediately with your big steaming pile of crap, and everybody's going to go on the Goodreads and they're going to say, this is a big steaming pile of crap. Why am I reading this? And you're going to be like, I don't care. You're reading it. I got a bunch of money. That book sucks, but you are reading it. So, there's two ways of doing things. Oh, and I'm not ending the video because there's one more thing I want to touch on that falls into this introductory thing about being a writer. It's like, at some point in time, I had to choose between, do I want to be a big fancy marketing salesperson business guy, or do I want to be really good at writing novels? Because all that energy you put into being a big fancy marketing person sales guy, you're not putting that energy into your novels, which novels are so energy consuming. You really gotta I devoted all of myself into these things, except for when I wanted to, branch out and learn some other things. I wanted to become martial arts. I want to become a gardener, do these things. But for the most part, I put everything into the novels. And that meant I can't be a big fancy marketing person, sales guy. But these other people, they crap out their little whatever, they crap out their little poop of a book, and then they'd be the big fancy marketing person sales guy, and they're doing great. So, but it's the readers that suffer, because you're gonna read whatever they sell you. That's what it comes down to, is people read what they are sold. And nobody's selling them my books. They're not getting read, but they're selling a lot of really bad books. And I'm hoping in the future we start reading better books, and I would like to eliminate this problem, because God, and all these writers that have upset me so bad with their terrible writing, I don't want them to be terrible writers. I want them to be good writers so I can read a good book. But they're all bad. Not all of them, but a lot, a scary amount of them are bad. All right, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, if you know any young writers, beginning writers, Writers Underworld, this is the zone for these people. And writers in general, if you're in the void, if you're tortured, if you feel like you're sick of the void, come hang out at Writers Underworld. That's what this place is for. It's a place for writers to be writers about writing. And I don't know, we'll see where it goes. All right. Deuces.